everyone, my name is Deckerlink, the Trained Unprofessional, and welcome to Echo. We finally got an update on this game, and I believe it is Flynn and TJ this time, again, because Carl's done, Leo's done, Jenna ain't getting no love, and so Flynn's getting worked on by McSkinny, Howley's working on TJ, so let's see what we got this time around. I'm looking forward to it. Finally, it's something that isn't Kingdom Hearts fucking 3. Sorry about inundating you with that, guys. Oh, you know what I didn't do? You know what the fuck I did not do? I didn't check to see if, I didn't check to see if the stuff didn't fuck up, if my saves didn't fuck up, so should have done that first. Haven't streamed in a while, so I forgot. So, yeah. From the hood of the truck, little rivers of blood splay out from the duck's chest, dripping down the front of the grill. Its eyes are still open, even though it's dead. I always thought when something died, your eyes closed and your tongue sticks out. It looks like staring at me. Dad didn't respond, but he finally looks up and sees what I'm seeing. For context, this is the scene that we actually saw before, but they added shit to it, so it automatically sent us back a little bit. So let's see what changed. Dad doesn't respond, and he finally looks up and sees what I'm seeing. He sucks in his chest as if he'd been struck. He shuts his eyes again. His whole body shakes for a moment like he's having a spaz attack. I don't want to watch this. I'm about to turn and walk away when I see something move in the back of the van. Just for a split second, but I swear I see a face through the dusty glass. Son. Dad repeats himself. Dad. Again, there's a flash of fur like something's bouncing up. Dad, there's someone in the van. Dad says nothing. He won't even look now. There's someone in there, I know it. I wipe my eyes with my sleeves, clenching my fist and stepping closer to the rear window. I smear away the dust from the glass and press my tip of my muzzle against the window. Nothing. What the hell? When I step back, Dad's on his feet, up on his feet again. He didn't look angry anymore. Just sad, or empty, I guess. He picks up his rifle from the ground, holding it sort of limply with one paw. Without a word, he turns and heads back through the clearing from whence we came. I stand there for a while, listening to his steps trail off. My gut begins to feel like it's being twisted into a knot. Why didn't he say anything? He always says something. Any other time he opens his mouth, I practically flinch, so why do I feel like this now? He won't actually leave me out here, will he? I cross my arms over my chest, hugging myself. Minutes pass, and nothing happens. It's like I'm rooted in place, constantly wiping my eyes and nose. Just gotta be tough. I mean, I am tough. I just don't know what to do. What the hell am I supposed to do? I hate this! Why did I have to say all that? Nothing will ever be the same again! Even if I get to go home, my parents will just ship me off to live with my uncle in the compound. You know what? Maybe that'll be fine. At least then my parents couldn't threaten me with that anymore. Maybe I'll even like making airplane parts. I don't need video games, TV, or my friends. And that'll be fine. Because at least I won't be around them, especially Dad. Still no footsteps. I would hear if he started up the truck from here, I think. Guess he hasn't left yet. Maybe I should start a fire or something. I never could get one going on my own in the past, but that's probably because I wasn't trying very hard. I look around and start gathering any twigs or dry grass I can find. Everything is still kind of damp, though that shouldn't matter as long as I rub hard enough. Flynn would probably make a joke about that, or at least show me what the heck I'm supposed to do. Flynn is the outdoorsy one of the groups, who knows how all this survival stuff by heart, which is weird because he's gay and all. He's like the least gay acting guy ever. What the fuck did that say? He's the least gay acting gay guy ever. There we go. I remember once he told me that liking girls is too girly for him. I guess that makes sense. He's not like the kind you see in movies and how my parents describe them. I sigh, sitting down and splaying out a little bed of dry grass and twigs with a single coarse stone in the middle. After that, I take 2 of the sturdiest looking sticks and begin to rub them together like they do on TV. Here I am, rubbing a bunch of... It's the technical term! Also, my windows are open because it's a nice day out, so we'll see how that fucking goes. And, of course, nothing's happening. They're getting kind of warm, but they won't rub right. Not enough friction, I think. I grit my teeth, letting my heavy tail flop down in the soil behind me. I don't even care if it gets dirty now. Oh, by the way, Spoof reacts to any and all noises outside the apartment, so if he starts freaking the fuck out, that's why. See? He's starting to growl already. Just because someone dared to exist outside this apartment. Spoofy, calm down now, buddy. I grit my teeth, letting my heavy tail already said that. The pads of my paws are starting to really hurt, so I bite the inside of my cheek. I look down at the pile of twigs and I think I see a spark. I quicken the rubbing, only for the twig to slip and scrape along the edge of my paw. I cry out in pain as a thin line of blood appears on my fur. Nyeh. I inhale sharply. This is so stupid. I hate this. I throw the sticks down and cover my face with my paws sucking on my cut. What am I doing? God. What am I supposed to do? I rocked myself back and forth slowly, remembering what the school counselor told me. Imagine these feelings as a physical thing that you can hold. Then take deep breaths and begin to rip these feelings apart as if they were a piece of paper that you didn't want anymore. Finally, imagine a calm place, a happy place. Somewhere you can be alone and at peace. I sniff, making little ripping motions and closing my eyes. Holy shit, I've won the fight! People in the crowd can't believe it! I look across the sea of faces, they all hate me. Well, maybe not all. I know there's one in this crowd who doesn't. I see him in the back, where he usually likes to be. Oh shit, it's all dark now. Dad's still standing there. His eyes puffy. Dad, please. You were right. For once. I swallow back a blubbering sob, wiping snot from my muzzle. It's been so long, I can't take this anymore. Stop it! Things used to be different. He inhales raggedly, tugging at the end of his facial scruff with one free paw. I used to feel things in real time. Now it's all like a memory of a thing. He continues to stare at the van. Like this isn't happening. It happened. It will happen. I don't know. It don't matter. I feel his paw tug tighter on the rifle. Oh, no, please stop! I pull back on my end of it. You know you can't stop me. I love you, please stop it! He's not even crying, he's just standing there, only turning to look at me whenever he pulls the barrel of the gun closer to his chin. Yeah, they had to rewrite this scene to make it more apparent. I wish I was stronger, I really, really wish. Thought I could move away. Forget it ever happened.
Move on, find redemption in the Lord. It's never that simple, is it?
I don't know what you're talking about! My voice is shrill and hoarse at this point. Sometimes I can't even speak. I want to call out for help, but there's no one around.
But Eliza had to move back here, and I loved her. So I had to grin and bear it, as they say.
He wets his lips.
I can't.
He rolls his eyes in a strange, exaggerated fashion.
Any time I try to escape, be it physical-like or through some other such diversions, it all just keeps coming back to me. Just going in circles.
I begin sobbing on his pant leg, clinging to it as I pull as hard on as I can on the gun. It's never enough. He won't let go. Let's just go home, okay? Please, let's go home. I'm sorry, I'm sorry! Dad says nothing. Something stirs from within the back of the van. Even with my vision blurred with tears, it's clearer than it was before. It's a face. Dad begins to move again, bringing the rifle end up to his chin. Oh boy! I grab Dad's paw, trying to pull his fingers away from the trigger. I yank as hard as I can. No eyes. No eyes. What's happening? Holy shit! Did you see that? Look at the back window of the van. Find him. What the fuck was that? Find him.
Hey, is there any more of that oatmeal you bought left?
Jay stands beside the bed, peering down at me.
Oh no, were you asleep?
I blink.
Chase, I'm so sorry. You were moving around so much, I didn't know.
Chase. Right. What does that mean? It's okay, TJ. I push myself up, feeling the bedsheet sticking to the back of my fur. My shirt is drenched, and I smell awful.
Are you okay?
A concerned look crosses the Lynx's face. I'm not sure how to respond.
I'll get some water.
He smiles at me in that eerily genuine way he does. He turns and walks to the sink. There's a subtle sound of too loud oldies music coming from behind me, the suite next door. Sunlight peeks into the beige drapery, but everything outside is just a pale glow. I can't gauge what time it is. I try to move my paw. It's slow to react. Every piece of my body is tingling with this sort of damp vibration. Sleep paralysis? But I'm awake, and I moved just a second ago. Maybe I'm just dehydrated. I blink again, and little floaties dance in front of my eyes. God damn it. Blobs, swirls, and smiley faces that flee whenever my gaze chases them. I let out a long exhale through my nostril and shift my weight to my tail behind me. Today is Saturday. Oh, lordy. Today is the day.
And isn't it beautiful today?
Did I say that out loud? He holds the polystyrene cup directly in front of my muzzle. I can smell it. The water. Way too mineralized, like a foggy calcium broth. But calcium can't hurt you, it's just bones. Like a clockwork automation, I feel my arm jerk and arise, grasping the cup and bringing the contents to my lips. I finish it in 3 swallows. Water. It's been so long since I swam, and I'm starting to really feel the need for it. Air is fine, but it's just nothing. Water is something. It's got pressure. It hugs you as you move through it. Nobody understands it like we do, I guess. I realize TJ's still staring at me, and I give him a look. Another smile, this one more sheepish. With a small grunt, I managed to throw my legs out from under the cover, my feet touching the firm carpet beneath. Rub the sleep from my eyes. I slept like 11 hours. Why do I feel like this? Looking around, I notice that the bed next to me is empty. Where's Jenna? My voice comes out higher. Where's Jenna? Than I intended, and I quickly clear my throat. She went out. I'm not sure exactly where. Ooh, Saturday's a bad day to go out by yourself. I stare at him, my eyes still only half open.
We were supposed to go hiking. I'm sure she'll be back soon.
Why do you want to hike so much?
What?
TJ frowns. You grew up here and you hiked all the time as a kid. Shouldn't you be sick of it by now? The lynx dips his paws into his pockets, his lips pursing as he hesitates his response.
Well, my parents didn't want me going out too far or anywhere too dangerous. There's still a lot of trails I haven't been on.
This is Echo. You can see everything around you for miles. There's not much surprise when you can see the entire trail. Like going through a forest or a big mountain. I can understand some of the appeal, but not this. Sort of raise my arms and gesture to everything and nothing at the same time. TJ, meanwhile, just shakes his head.
I think I understand what you mean, Chase, but hiking isn't about being surprised. So what if you can see what's coming? It's what happens when you're there that matters.
Kind of like right now, where we know that Saturday is going to be a fucking nightmare, but we haven't seen it yet. TJ smiles again, with that same youth pastor-esque vigor. I can tell it's genuine, but there's always that feeling that I get that there's something going on behind those blue eyes that's not right. Growing up, I always chalked it up to his unwaveringly hypocritical dogma in contrast to my whole liking dicks thing, but now I don't know. It was never enough to bother me too much, but I'm starting to wonder if this is what Flynn sees, too. Jen ate the last of the oatmeal.
Aw. I guess I'll stop by the diner again, then. I wanted to check up on Janice anyway. What are you gonna have?
I don't know, I'm not usually the breakfast type. When I wake up, everything in my mouth just tastes gross and it kills my appetite.
Oh, yes, I understand.
TJ nods, turning to move back to the mini fridge. He opens it, staring inside as if looking hard enough would make a fruit parfait appear. That being said, I'm starting to miss the Student Union food court, something fierce. I think you hear TJ chuckle a little.
You would really like our campus's cafeteria. We've got a cereal bar with around 25 different types of cereal to choose from. You can even make your own protein bars and that sort of thing. It's really cool.
That actually sounds pretty good, even though my palate sort of tastes like a mix of sawdust and barf right now. Lynx pulls out a wrapped rice treat, peering at it with a squinty expression.
That's a creative way of describing that.
I'm almost not hungry anymore. He holds up the treat, the blue foil catching the window light in a bit of a curious way.
I'm not sure why this is in the fridge.
I just threw the whole bag of stuff I picked up at the convenience store in there.
Would you like this?
Yeah, sure, I'll take it. TJ nods, tossing the treat in a gentle arc my way. I almost catch it. Ow. I rub the end of my snout as TJ looks at me wide-eyed.
Oh, criminy!
That's not criminy, that's crimey.
Who says crimey? Crimey, that hit you square, Chase. I'm sorry.
It's okay, I'm still waking up, I guess. I begin unwrapping the foil packaging. I'm gonna eat this and shower, okay?
Not at the same time, right?
No.
Okay, good. Just making sure I didn't hit you too hard.
Another sheepish smile. I managed one in return this time. I take a bite of the treat, and to my surprise, it's actually pretty okay, cold. After a moment, I notice the little blue light flashing on my phone. New message. A pang of guilt sets in as I realize my first thought is, please don't be Leo. Carl.
Hope your camera's okay.
I sigh. It's not. I scroll down and notice a message below it.
Come over?
Shit, Carl's interview's today, isn't it? I don't want to be bumming him out too much. It's fine. I pause. I'll be over soon. Aren't you supposed to go on a hike, though? What are you doing? There. I set the phone back down on the nightstand and tossed the treat wrapper into the bin beside the bed. TJ glances up at me momentarily. He's also looking at his phone. Carl's got a job interview up in Peyton today. TJ looks up from his phone, grinning.
Wow, that's really great. I still remember when he worked at the market shop we used to have on Elizabeth Street. Where's this one at?
Print shop, I think? I don't know. Carl seemed kind of hesitant to talk about it.
Oh. Well, tell him that I wish him good luck, and that it's always really important that you smile. If you look like you're happy and excited, then the interviewers might get that way too.
It's infectious, right?
Right.
I've gotten literally all my jobs because my parents were friends with somebody who was hiring. I suppose I never really had to worry about interviewing. A noise comes from outside, the sound of jingling keys and the door being unlocked.
So the police finally showed up.
Oh, is this mouse? Can you see my mouse? Okay, you cannot. Awesome. Jenna steps inside, giving me a bit of a curious look over when she notices I'm still in my sleepwear.
Are they gonna do anything?
I doubt it. She strides across the room, grabbing a bottle of water from the mini fridge.
Why is that?
The cops seemed more suspicious of me than anything. They asked if I was on any illicit substances. Jesus. Guess they're not used to seeing people our age around here that aren't. I think it was more of an anti-native sentiment than anything.
Really?
Yes. Jenna looks back at me. Chase, you really should shower. I blink. What? I noticed when I walked in. This whole room has your oily musk scent. It's not very flattering. I frown deeply, covering my armpits and pushing my tail back over my behind. All right. I was going to anyway. I rise to a stand before moving to the bathroom. TJ gives me a sympathetic look as I pass. I shut the door behind me after stepping inside. With a few quick tugs, I remove my shirt and underwear and then place them on the edge of the counter. At home, I just throw them on the floor, but I don't really trust how clean the linoleum is here. I step into the shower. It gets hot quick, so I fiddle with the handle some. There's some gray fur tucked in the corner, so I'm guessing TJ took one this morning. I bend down and pick up the tiny complimentary shampoo bottle from the rack and begin to lather the contents into my fur. It's not exactly the best for my type of fur, but it'll work for now. Though, I still can't shake the feeling that I have cigarette smoke baked into my pores. You know, in comparison to the communal dorm showers, this is actually kind of nice. Contrary to what many may think, they're not as sexy as porn makes you believe. I begin lathering further down. I usually rub one out during the shower time. Though at the moment, I'm pretty devoid of those feelings. Ever since I got here, back to Echo, I've felt more detached from everything than I usually do. Like all this stuff is going on around me and I'm just here. When I woke up this morning, it was as if I wasn't sure what was the dream and what was real. I don't even recall what the dream was about. TJ distracted me before I could really archive it, or however it works with remembering dreams. There was a feeling of sorrow, fear, helplessness, and then all of a sudden, agency. It's familiar, but I don't know why. Like strange nostalgia without the red and rose-tinted happiness.
Dudes, I don't know about this.
I peek into the bathroom, watching as Carl stares at himself in the mirror, running his fingers through his hair.
I'm sure you look fine.
Easy for you to say, you can't even grow hair.
Carl sets the trimmer down, running his fingers through his beard.
You tell him, Chase.
Carl looks at me, and I have to agree that he looks quite a bit better. You look fantastic, a lot cleaner.
Thanks.
Now, you might want to get the gamer stink off of you. You smell like JRPGs and energy drinks.
I find myself snickering, though Carl doesn't look anywhere near a point of laughter. This has got to be new music, because I do not recognize this song. He just quietly shuts the door in my face.
So, Chase, didn't expect I'd see you again.
I look over at Daxton, who's been standing beside the bathroom door with his arms crossed. Neither did I. Carl asked me to come over, so I did. Daxton nods. Do you think he's got this?
Haven't known Carl long enough to say, really. I hope he does.
Can't help but thinking a lot of things could go wrong, you know? Carl doesn't get out much.
It's weird thinking about the future like that, isn't it?
I cock my head some in the amphibian's direction. What do you mean?
The infinite possibilities of things that can happen.
So expect the worst?
With an infinite number of timelines, there's no such thing as a worst-case scenario. Just an infinite number of varying shades of bad.
Do you actually believe that? He clicks his tongue, waving his hand dismissively.
No, it was an episode of
Adastra, which is a game now! An episode of which is on the channel and you could check out. Apparently there's a new update going to be coming out here soon, and I'm looking forward to it. It's pretty fucking good. I really like it.
Yeah.
Daxton perks a furless brow towards me at the sound of the front door opening. We turn and make our way towards the entrance hall. Next to the kitchen, it's going to be Flynn. The familiar heavy footsteps are a dead giveaway of who's there. It's going to be Flynn.
Didn't know job interviews were a fucking group event.
It's Flynn! Ooh, another thing of new music. Flynn's tall form meanders in, carrying a few Tupperware containers and a plastic bag. He doesn't look at either of us.
Well, we wanted to be here, and I didn't have anything else going on.
He wanted us to be here.
He's in the shower now.
I fidget with the inside of my pockets, trying to look nonchalant. Daxton's big blue eyes dart from me to Flynn and back again.
I have to go pee and something. I'll be right back.
Flynn's mouth twitches as if he's about to call Daxton back, but relents. Instead, he sets the bag on the kitchen island and begins rifling through it. His large tail twitches and he furrows his brow, seemingly trying really hard to concentrate on whatever he's doing. Which, as I look closer, is essentially just rearranging the Tupperware in the bag over and over. Flynn... He stops. He shifts his gaze towards me, and I'm at a loss of what to say. Part of me wants to call him a fucking weird hypocritical asshole. The other part, well, I'm not really sure about the other part yet. If I just broach the topic of Chase, none of this shit matters. He gestures between us. I'm not gonna try to speak cryptic to you here about feelings and shit. I just need to know you're gonna keep your promise, okay? He's frowning down at me, and his expression is more uneasy than outright stern. Flynn, fuck! Fuck! His fist hits the countertop, and next thing I know, he's moving around the kitchen and grabbing paper towels. The lasagna's goddamn leaking everywhere! It's like a fucking menstrual pad in there. Why'd you bring lasagna? Because lard-ass needs to eat something besides pizza and self-hatred for a change. As opposed to you who eats salads and self-hatred? Shut the fuck up.
At least I have a self.
What's that supposed to mean? What was that supposed to mean? Flynn doesn't respond. Gila busy with stacking paper towels underneath the bag before shoving it in the fridge. You hear the sound of hooves on floorboards and turn around. Carl had shuffled into the living room so quietly we didn't even notice. There he is with his shaved beard and everything.
So, how's it look?
He looks good, but I'm more concerned with the fact that he looks more insecure than I've ever seen him. He shifts from hoof to hoof, not making eye contact at all, his fingers pulling at the rolled-up sleeves. Very nice. You kind of look like you're pledging Alpha Lambda, but it works.
What?
Carl looks at me and I give a start, realizing how bad my silence must have seemed. You do look great, Carl. But, Axton chuckles and Carl's eyes widen.
What?
The beanie. Do you always wear that thing? Carl lifts a paw to it.
Usually.
You can't wear that. How'd you even get it on?
It's stretchy, and my head fur looks awful.
Seriously, you can't wear a beanie to an interview. Carl's getting all fidgety again, so Flynn butts in.
Don't wear it. Oh, come on!
He looks sad and angry at the same time, which gives me pause.
You gotta work with your shirt half off. I'll wear it if I want. This is my interview.
Usually Flynn would banter back, calling Carl a stupid dumbass or something of that nature, but he says nothing. After a couple of seconds of silence, Daxton coughs. Daxton looks at me, then back to Carl. Well, I reckon that's alright. Carl sighs and shifts around again. We watch him expectantly.
Dudes, this feels weird is all.
It's new. You'll get used to it. I pull out my phone to look at the time. Alright, we really need to head out. We should get there early. As we head to the door, Daxton makes as if to follow us. Flynn turns around to face him as Carl heads out the door.
Hey, Dax.
He stops. What?
After the interview, me, Chase, and some of our other friends, we're gonna be doing something.
Wait, is Carl on board with this plan too? Daxton raises a brow. Oh.
So could you fuck off for a bit?
Jesus, Flynn. Part of me wouldn't mind a guy like with Daxton's attitude present at what will surely be the biggest downer of the week. And to keep Flynn in check. Daxton doesn't budge, giving Flynn an indiscernible look. After a while, Flynn just sighs, rubbing his brow.
It's gotta do with personal shit.
Oh, really? See, why didn't you just say that?
You wouldn't want to come. There's gonna be some heavy shit.
Are you the heavy shit in question? Flynn says nothing. After a moment, Daxton just exhales and shakes his head. Just let me know how the interview goes. As the salamander passes me, he speaks in a hushed tone. You deserve better, man. I look down at my feet before heading out to the car. You don't. Oh, shit, bruh. We getting double talked. We getting double talked now.
We're getting double talked now.
Carl still looks confused after Flynn and I come out to the car without Daxton.
Where's Dude Man?
I make a show of buckling my seatbelt.
We'll talk about it after your interview. What? He's not coming? He's the guy who knows the guy who runs the place. Yeah, well, you weren't gonna be bringing him inside with you anyway.
Carl stares at the dashboard as I back out, pretending to be distracted so I can muster up something reassuring. You know, Carl, you should talk about some of your art while you're in there. I hear it's good to look like you have a passion, especially one that's tangentially related to what you do. To be honest, I have no clue what sorts of skills you need at a print shop. I look at my rearview mirror at the Ram, who still isn't saying anything. Hopefully, not many. Oh, shit. By the way, Flynn. Flynn's nostrils flare as if he's bracing himself. The big lizard had to back his seat all the way to the back to give himself enough legroom to sit in my tiny sedan. I need to stop by City Hall before we do the thing. Why? He responds with wary dryness. I need to scan some photos to my thumb drive. I forgot to do it when I was there last. I know where everything I need is. Shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. Yeah, okay, I got my key card in my wallet. Flynn scratches his groin idly, looking at the window as we pass the diner. Kinda surprised he didn't protest more. Carl stays quiet as we drive through the rest of Echo, and I swerve to avoid all the potholes. As I'm merging onto the highway, Flynn speaks up. I cooked you some shit to celebrate you joining the workforce and such. Fancy-ass organic store ramen with this spiced sausage stuff and lasagna. Same recipe that my uncle used.
That's, premature, right?
If there's a food reward waiting for you, your fat ass can do anything. I resist the urge to nod in agreement.
Hope you're right.
We fall back into silence, and it stays that way for the remaining 20-minute drive. Carl gets more nervous the closer we get. I can see his knees bouncing in the corner of my eye as he stares out the window. Flynn reaches back and puts a hand on his knee as we pull into the parking lot of the print shop. Gila mutters something to the Ram. I can't make any of it out. You look awesome and you're gonna do amazing. Carl starts taking deep breaths, staring out the windshield. Just be yourself. Everyone loves a relaxed employee.
I wish you'd let me have a smoke before we left.
Yeah, go into an interview smelling like pot. Great idea. Carl giggles nervously, but otherwise doesn't move. Do you want us to go in with you? Carl shakes his head quickly, unbuckling his seatbelt as he opens the car door.
Oh man, I'll be fine.
Okay, cool. I'll be waiting. He looks to Flynn, who just gives him a little nod. I grin at him, and he just shuts the door and ambles up to the print shop. He pushes on the doors, and when they don't move, he pushes harder, shaking the glass. I start to open my door to tell him to pull instead, but he seems to figure it out before I have to and disappears inside. Oh, Carl. Fucking hell. I look over and Flynn has his palms over his face. I sigh, leaning my seat back. Try to take a nap, since it feels like I haven't slept in ages. Though the heat beating down through the windows starts to become too uncomfortable. Turn the AC back on, then shuffle through the stations only to find twangy country and mariachi. Look at the time. 10:10 a.m. If the interview started on time, then he was probably almost done with it by now. Sort of want to go inside, but I know Carl wouldn't want me to. I settle back and close my eyes, trying to get some relief from the failing AC. Then the door rattles and I hear haphazard hoofsteps. I open my eyes, but no one's there. Flynn doesn't seem to have noticed, his own eyes closed. I do catch some movement disappearing around the side of the store, and I lean around to get a better look. I wait, but Carl, at least I think it's Carl, doesn't come back from around the corner. Looking around, I slowly open my door. Carl? Flynn awakens with a start, looking around some. You out yet? Nothing. Carl! I yell it, but he still doesn't come out. Feeling some dread build up in my stomach, I get out of the car and slowly walk around the side of the building. Flynn joins me. The hell's going on? It's an alley between the print shop and what I think is a laundromat. Nothing is in the alley except a few dumpsters and clumps of garbage. I step carefully around the puddles covered in oil slick and wonder if maybe he just really wanted to smoke. Carl? Something shifts on the other side of one of the dumpsters and I hear sniffling. Wordlessly, I walk around the dumpster to the other side. Carl is bent over, his back to me, paws on his knees. His whole body is shaking and his breaths are ragged. Holy shit, Carl! Before I can do anything, Flynn's at his side. You okay, man? What happened? The stench of vomit hits my nose, and I don't need to look closely to know what the puddle between Carl's hooves is. Carl makes sure to turn his face away from us, not saying a word. Shit. I dash back to the car and open the passenger door so I can get to the glove box. Pull out a few napkins before hurrying back to the Ram. When I return, Flynn is quietly rubbing his back. He takes them from me wordlessly and starts wiping his face. The last time I'd seen Carl like this was last year when he'd had his panic attack at school. I didn't think he'd have that problem now after the therapy and time away. I feel kind of useless just standing there watching him. He's at least not hyperventilating. Ram has his horns pushed up against the wall, taking deep breaths as he wipes his face again.
Why do I suck at everything?
He says it quietly, sorry, between gasps, but I can make it out. Not everything. Come on, let's go. He starts to pull on his arm, but he yanks it back from him violently.
Don't touch me!
Flynn and I are stunned into silence. I just stare at him, mouth open. He glances at me, and his eyes are red, and for once, it's not because of weed. Carl starts off towards the car on his own, spitting off to the side as he does. Carl, what happened? He whirls on me.
I fucked up! Obviously! Any more fucking questions?
A few, yeah. His voice breaks apart in the last sentence as he turns away from us as his face starts to screw up. My stomach feels hollow as I watch Carl get into my car. I've never, ever seen him like this. He immediately hunches forward behind the driver's seat, head in his paws. I slowly walk up to the driver's side door, feeling like shit myself. Flynn joins me. The Gila tugs at the scales around his chin, teeth grit. His expression is just bizarre, like intermittent smiling in between almost nauseous-looking face contortions. Fuck! We sit for a while waiting to see if Carl's gonna say anything. He does.
I'm sorry.
He blurts it out through his fingers. I look over at him, scared to say anything in case I say the wrong thing.
It was a disaster, dudes.
He takes in a deep, shuddering breath.
You could tell I wasn't into it right away. I was awkward as fuck.
He leans back and tugs at his shirt.
This isn't me, and I knew it, and it got me nervous. I've been nervous ever since I got my clothes, since I got this stupid trim.
We sit in silence for a long, long time until Carl looks at me and smiles.
God damn it, we all knew this was gonna happen, right? Just like at Pueblo with you, Chase, with your uncle, and with your Uncle Flynn. I'm just a fuck-up.
Nah, this is my fault, man. I told you I was gonna coach you, and I never got around to it. And I'm the tit-dirt who made Dak stay behind. Maybe he could have helped? I don't fucking know. Gila takes in a seething breath. You can't be expected to go into this shit blind and spit out exactly what some mid-level manager like Skyle wants to hear. World's fucked like that and just banging walls sometimes.
No, dude, I'm the one that screwed up in the interview.
Carl settles back in his seat.
Now that fuck up out of the way.
I sigh, looking at the hazy horizon in the direction where Echo is. On to the next. None of this fucking matters, Carl. Don't worry. Flynn gives me a look, then closes his eyes. So with that, I turn on the ignition and pull out of the parking lot, leaving the print shop and the alley far, far behind us. To be continued. God, the first part of fucking Saturday of Flynn's route is there, and goddamn. Let's check in on. Let's go to the title. Load game. It would be January 3rd, wouldn't it? Yeah. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Saturday of TJ's route. Holy shit. Oh boy. Now, a little bit of background on this one. Because my dumbass actually forgot whose route we were when we started Flynn's. I don't know why. But I didn't give any background for Flynn. I did kinda with the scene. But for here, we're about to roll up on the beach to find a clue that we went out last night and fucked with. So we're about to go find the clue that we left in the place of the real clue that was left by whoever the fuck that we tore up and kept. So we'll see how this goes. Oh god, this one makes me fucking nervous. I do not like this. We arrive at the lake at about 10 in the morning. Julian had driven down over an hour ago to pick us up before driving to Carl's house. Carl wasn't ready when we got there, and when we answered the door, his eyes were bleary and red. Took him a good 20 minutes to get ready, and all the while I struggled not to glare at him. It's weird. I've been friends with the Ram for almost my entire life, and it's only now that I'm feeling real disgust for the person that he is. So many self-created problems. He keeps his head down most of the time, so he doesn't see me. He's feeling sick, too, so he opts to ride in the truck bed on the way down, and Jenna sits with him. Can't help but wonder what might have happened if we have an accident. TJ sits next to me, and this time I'm sure to sit in the middle so that Julian is on my left and TJ is on my right. Feels better this way. As the lake comes into view, I rest upon TJ's knee. He glances at me, then nods in acknowledgement. I give his thigh a squeeze, then wait as we pull into the parking lot, going over the scenarios in my head for what might happen. I don't remember Julian's voice, so... Well, here we are. We don't say anything in response as we quietly get out of the truck. Jenna jumps out of the truck bed easily, but Carl struggles, and I imagine him falling straight out and face-planting onto the asphalt. Jenna helps him, though, and then we're all walking down the trail towards the lake, single file. I walk right behind TJ, though, so I can keep an eye on him and anyone else that might try to fuck with him. Wow, it's been 12 years since I've been down here. Yeah. There's a cool freshness to the air by the lake. I breathe it in and get hit with the sweet memories of spending entire days down here. Swimming in the lake, building sandcastles, poking at dead fish on the beach. As we start walking on that beach and approach the big boulder, I feel my heart start to hammer in my chest. I pick up my speed to catch up to TJ. How you feeling? I'm okay. You don't sound okay. I'm nervous. We all are. I actually feel like I'm gonna throw up. TJ suddenly reaches out his paw and holds mine. I'm surprised. TJ's never done this before, and though I know it's probably due to the situation we're in, it still makes me feel warm inside. It's going to be okay. I know it. This is gonna be the end. TJ's voice breaks up on the last word. The end? The end of what, exactly? TJ's guilt over Sydney? The mystery over what exactly happened to him? Of the world as we know it? Yeah, that's probably it. Before I know that after this morning things are never going to be... Because I know that after this morning things are never going to be the same again. Just remember that if it's buried by that boulder, it's probably gone by now. I know I've said that every time before, but the lake has been flooded a few times since. I look up at the steep, rocky bank on our right. Remember that spring where we went out all the way up to the road? Yeah. What do you have to do for these visual novels to be updated? Just follow them on Patreon. You don't have to give them money. This game is fucking free. Pie. I look back at our friends. Jenna's walking side by side with Carl, talking to him in a low voice. Julian is ahead of them, and he's looking directly at me. I look away. I'm just saying that even if it's there, it's probably water damage to the point we won't be able to read it. TJ stays silent just as we come up to the rock, sitting there on the beach like it has since I can remember. Probably like it has since before the lake was even created. TJ still holds my paw as Julian, Jenna, and Carl stand next to us, the five of us in a sort of semicircle around the boulder. Well, here we are. Julian says the exact same thing he said in the parking lot, and I feel myself starting to get annoyed. But I cling to TJ's paw, and that calms me down a little. So if it's still here, it could be anywhere, knowing Sydney, Jenna says his name carefully. He'd probably leave a marker of some kind. This one could be hard to find. Remember that he said it's by Carl's drawing. It'd probably be right next to that.
I don't know, guys. The other ones were inside of something. Who's just out on a beach? The sand's changing all the time.
Carl digs at oh. Hey, Vinicius Embedo. Thank you for the subscribe. Carl digs at the damp sand with a hoof, his paws shoved into his pockets, eyes downcast. Everything okay, Carl? I say it sharply, not bothering to filter out the annoyance in my voice. He looks up at me a bit surprised.
Huh? Yeah, I'm okay. Just feel sicker from the ride down.
Smoke too much? Carl frowns.
No, I just get sick sometimes when I'm stressed out. The weed makes me feel less sick, actually.
I stop myself from asking what it is he's so stressed out about.
Are you okay, Chase?
I'm good. I shouldn't be drawing all attention to myself right now. Meanwhile, Julian is walking around the boulder looking for the drawing. TJ lets go of my paw finally and starts to walk around the boulder from the other side. Almost immediately, he points excitedly. Oh, Carl, you're drawing! Carl sidles up to him before chuckling quietly.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, I thought it'd be gone by now.
Why would it be? You chipped it into the rock. Didn't you spend like a month doing that? Carl looks down at his paws.
Yeah, fucked my paws up doing it too.
Move around to stand next to them and see the rough outline of a muscular wolf with a long cape. Super Wolf. Carl had been obsessed with that superhero since the new movie was coming out that summer. I don't think he liked it very much because right after he saw it, he stopped working on the etching. It's actually pretty good, especially when you consider that Carl was like 9 when he did it. I push those memories out of my head, wiping out the smiling childhood face of Carl from my mind. Then I steel myself, preparing for what I'm going to say and for what's about to happen. Look at the sand underneath it. Everyone looks down in unison when I'm pointing my finger. I let it sink in for a moment before I say it. The dirt. Looks like someone dug it up recently. No one says anything. Or maybe this sand's just wetter there, I don't know. TJ kneels down at the boulder, reaching out a paw to steady himself against it as Julian kneels down across from him. He reaches out with the other paw, poking at the loose-looking dirt, slightly darker than the sand around it. Still, no one says anything, and I decide not to push it further, knowing that I've already planted a seed of doubt in TJ's mind. You should have grabbed a garden shovel from your house, Carl.
Yeah.
I pick up the flat rock I used last night. Here. I hand it to Julian. He looks at it for a second before digging the sharp end into the dirt. It sinks in deep and easily before the stag turns it in the sand. Less than a minute later, TJ gasps and reaches into the shallow hole, pulling out the lunchbox. Now, this is tricky. It could very well have the original hint still in it somehow, because this is a ghost hunt and just shit like that. So easily it still could be the original hint that Sydney left for us. But it could also be whatever the fuck Chase put in there, so yeah. And it sounds like he's going to be it sounds like it's all going to be blamed on Carl and Flynn when in whatever the fuck Chase wrote. We don't know what Chase wrote, but I guess we'll find out. Maybe, if it's still there. Now that there's daylight, I can see the chipped green paint on the dragon. TJ holds it for a moment, staring down at it. Julian looks around at us. Was that Sydney's? I can't remember, but TJ nods and with shaky hands unlatches the metal clasps. Carl stands further back than the rest of us, motionless. Jenna once again has a pop to her mouth, not saying anything. TJ opens the lid. The hinges squeak a little as the tin lid flops open, revealing my note. Paws still shaking, TJ reaches in. At this point, there's little hesitation in TJ's movements. He's eager to find out what it says, eager to get this done. TJ unfolds the note, then reads it. He doesn't read it aloud, instead letting his eyes go back and forth over the page while the rest of us wait. I know at this point he's finished reading it, but he still doesn't say anything. Eyes glued to the page. And the music has stopped. Oh boy! TJ? TJ doesn't say anything, continuing to stare. TJ, what does it say? TJ sits there for a few more seconds before he wordlessly holds out the note to no one in particular. His face is blank for the most part, but I can see the shock in his eyes. Julian takes it from him and starts reading. You've reached the end, but I don't have the answer, so I'll ask again. TJ, what happened to Sydney? Oh! Oh no! Oh, that's fucked! Oh, that's fucked all the way up! The silence that follows is one of the heaviest that I've ever experienced. Carl's still frozen, but now he's looking up at Julian. Jenna's moved her paw from her mouth at this point, but she's clutching her necklace, her eyes on TJ. Julian is just staring at the links, waiting, probably unsure of what any of this means. TJ, meanwhile, stares at the hole that we dug up, his paws laying limp in his lap, ears drooping. I start walking over to him. What does it mean? Do you guys know? I rest a paw on TJ's shoulder, touching it softly. He doesn't move. So I crouch down next to him, slowly wrapping an arm around his shoulders, drawing him in. I can feel him trembling. Guys. I look over at Julian with a sad look on my face. We have a friend who has a grudge about this whole thing. I think he might have been the one leaving the notes. Hey, come on, Spoof. Don't worry about... Spoofy! Spoofy! Don't you do it now. Hey! Quiet down! TJ shakes his head against mine, but he doesn't say anything. Julian stares. But why? Hey, come on, man. I shrug, beginning to stroke the top of TJ's head. Julian looks from me to TJ. I don't know. Maybe he thought this was his last chance to hurt TJ somehow. I really don't know. Jenna and Carl have walked up to stand next to us, and both seem to be at a loss for words. The paper is different, though. TJ's voice is distant and faint, muffled against my chest. There always to make paper look old. Maybe. If you have all the fucking answers, Chase, you're gonna fucking implicate yourself. Maybe he just didn't have time with this one. Julian shakes his head. Listen, I've not only been a part of this for a day, but this is crazy, and those are a lot of assumptions. Do you really know what happened? If you knew this friend of ours like we do, you'd understand how obvious this is. But then Jenna shakes her head as well. No, Flynn wouldn't do this. He's a jerk, but he wouldn't do this. You know what Flynn's been sending? You know that Flynn's been sending TJ threatening texts all week, and then he's been out to fuck with TJ since we got here. Jenna shakes her head again, but doesn't say anything.
He wouldn't.
I snap my gaze at Carl, glaring.
Dude, even at his worst, he'd never do something like this. It's too fucked up. All that work just to fuck with us, and it has to do with Sydney? No.
And who found the first note? Who's been Flynn's best friend since we all left?
Whoa, Chase.
Carl's eyes go wide. TJ finally lifts his head, looking up at Carl. Oh, fuck! Okay, this... what I'm looking at here... it looks like... someone says... You're the one that gave it to us, set us off on this whole bullshit scavenger hunt. Doesn't say who says this. It says TJ Saturday, but it also that just could mean TJ's route, so we're going to ignore that. Carl takes a step back, mouth hanging open, looking at me like I'm some sort of alien or something. So I'm going to assume that we said that. This entire thing was fucking crazy from the start. Our dead friend who left notes behind a decade ago, and somehow it's still all here. In the old school? In that house? Fuck that! Chase, stop it. Jenna's voice is soft and distant, lacking any sort of authority. I stand up suddenly, staring the ram down.
No.
Carl takes another step back, and I can see his chest heaving. He can't even get his words out. It's like he's just run a marathon and he can't catch his breath. Huh?
I don't.
Carl clutches his chest, and I can't help but notice how fucking guilty he looks right now. He suddenly retches and gags loudly. Carl, breathe. Oh, you reported the error? Okay. It calls for an OGG file, but the file that the name is an MP3? Okay. No, you can't use your fucking anxiety, I make air quotes. You monster. As a shield right now? Did Flynn put you up to this? Carl retches again and doubles over, spitting on the ground. Carl. Jenna starts walking towards the ram, but at that point something rushes up past me and past Jenna. I have a moment to see TJ's back. His tufted ears laid flat against his head like he's moving so fast that the wind pushed them back. There's another quick movement that I can't quite see from my angle. But then Carl's stumbling back, I paw up to his face, letting out a gasp like he's been holding his breath for 10 minutes. I lunge forward, reaching out for TJ as the cat goes in for another swipe. Oh shit! Carl jumps back towards the embankment. As he does, he lands on the many rocks that separate the beach from the road. Grab the back of TJ's shirt, but at the same time I see Carl's hoof disappear between rocks, then he falls back. And then there's another sound, like a thick branch snapping in two, cutting through the air like a gunshot. Immediately, Carl lets out the most hideous scream that I've ever heard the ram make. No! Jenna runs past us, followed by Julian at a more even jog. Meanwhile, I hold on to TJ, the lynx still going after Carl, making a yowling sound as his claws swipe at the Hey, Breeze Wolf, thank you for the subscribe. A yowling sound as his claws swipe at the air, baring his teeth. He's wild, feral, not thinking at all. TJ, stop, I'm here. I try talking into the lynx's ear at the same time, and I feel I'm starting to go limp in my grasp, the energy and rage slowly going out of him. I finally feel safe enough to turn him around, pulling him into a hug. It's okay. You got him. You're fine. DJ looks toward Carl one last time, watching the ram roll back and forth on his back, choking, howling, and screaming all at once. Oh my god. TJ suddenly turns his face into my chest and starts to cry. Jesus, his ankle. Carl, can you move? But Carl isn't listening, continuing to scream and hyperventilate at the same time. Call an ambulance! I don't know who she's talking to, but Julian pulls out his phone. TJ continues to sob into my chest, and I start to move away towards the trail, pulling TJ with me. I'm taking TJ back to the motel. Yes, please leave, please! Jenna snarls at me over his shoulder. Hi, we need paramedics. Someone here has tripped and broke his leg, and now he can't get up. Carl, I know it hurts, but you need to breathe. I'm gonna count. Jenna's voice fades away as I start fast walking towards the trail, pulling a sobbing TJ along with me. Fuck! TJ finally pulls away from me when we reach the parking lot and starts walking ahead, hugging himself. I follow behind him at a close distance, listening to him sob for a while. It isn't until we reach the road that he's finally calmed down enough to stop sobbing. I walk quietly behind him for a little bit longer before finally catching up, walking next to him. He doesn't say anything and goes on hugging himself, hiccuping softly every once in a while. I wonder if I should say anything, ask him about what happened, or even change the subject completely. Eventually, though, he's the one to speak first. I didn't mean to... He cuts off as he goes into a coughing fit. I rub him on the back gently. It's okay. You don't have to explain yourself after what he did. Do you think... He takes a deep breath, finally steadying his words. Do you think he really did that? I let the silence drag out for a moment before finally replying. Who else could it have been? I completely understand why you went along with all the notes, but in the end, this was the only realistic conclusion we were going to get to. Yeah. I just didn't think they'd do something like this, especially Carl. Carl. TJ says Carl's name softly. I still don't know if he did it, but then I remembered what he said when we played Spin the Bottle. Felt like it had to be him. I was just so angry. I've never been so angry in my life. It was scary. I mean, maybe Flynn didn't tell him everything about what was going on. I guess he could have been tricked into thinking Flynn somehow had good intentions and all this. I don't know. His leg. TJ covers his face like he's about to start crying again. I quickly put my arm around him and hold him close. Hey, this isn't your fault. Honestly, he deserved that scratch you gave him. He fell on his own. TJ shakes his head. I can't even remember what happened. I started running at him like I wasn't in control. It was like all automatic or something. Him too? TJ. I stop the links and turn him towards me, even though he keeps covering up his face. This is not your fault. What Flynn and Carl did to you was absolutely disgusting, and honestly, I'm amazed that you were able to hold yourself back as much as you did. The sounds he was making, it sounded so awful. TJ's face screws up under his paws. I hug him again. No, we only had a taste of the pain you're feeling on the inside. Now stop thinking about him. It's over. This whole thing is over. TJ starts crying softly again, and I hold him closer, letting him get it out of his system. Over his shoulder, I can see the ambulance lights flashing, though they didn't have the siren on. I'm thankful for that, at least. My phone buzzes in my pocket a few times, but I ignore it, waiting until the link's soft sobs taper out. I turn him away from the lake so he doesn't see the lights, and we keep walking slowly up the road. Less than a mile away, the motel sign glints in the sunlight. TJ shuffles along, continuing his quiet snuffling. Did you want to leave today? I don't know. Maybe. Well, let's get back to the motel and sit down for a while, okay? Then we can decide what we want to do. Okay. TJ's breathing evens out again as we get closer to the motel. But why do you think Flynn would do that? It doesn't make any sense. I shrug. Well, like I said yesterday, I think now that he knows he isn't going to get the answers he wants, he's just out to hurt us now. And that's it, really. You were right. I guess I just didn't think he could be capable of that. I mean, you always see the best in people. There's nothing wrong with that. TJ didn't respond, and we're silent the rest of the way there. First thing TJ does when we get inside is lay on the bed and stare at the ceiling. Check my texts and see that they're all from Jenna. They say Carl just broke his ankle and that he's going to be fine. Julian is driving me to the hospital so we can sit with Carl and bring him back when they're done. By the way, when they asked Carl what happened, he said he slipped on a rock and fell. He said that's where the scratch came from, too. I assume he doesn't want us to tell anyone about what happened. You should think about checking out early. I'm probably going to a friend's house in Peyton after this. I stare at the last text, wondering what exactly it means. She's going to a friend's house, and that's just it? Almost sounds like she's just done with us. I guess one good thing came out of this then. Carl's going to be fine. He told the paramedics that he slipped on a rock, so I don't think he's going to be, like, pressing charges or anything. TJ covers his face, and I hope that he isn't about to cry again, but when he starts talking, his voice is steady and even. I'm going to have to see him before we leave. I don't want to leave town like this. He sounds defeated, like he knows things are now ruined beyond any sort of repair. I suddenly feel a wave of compassion and love for the Lynx, and the one purely good person in this shit town. I get up and drape myself over the bed next to TJ. He looks up in surprise, ears perked and twitching, his tufts waving around in the most adorable way. Listen, I know we can't just forget what happened back there, and I know we can't just fix everything, but I pause and wait till TJ looks up at me. I want to spend the rest of this weekend together and just have fun. There's not really much else we can do. TJ looks back up at the ceiling. But what about your project? I laugh. Dude, that does not matter anymore. I'll just retake the class over the summer or something. That doesn't sound good. I don't want to cause you to fail. You're not. I'm making this decision. TJ continues to stare at the ceiling, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. I just broke Carl's leg. Carl fell and broke his leg, TJ. No, I did it. Things are so messed up now. His voice starts to go up high again, and I quickly put a paw on his shoulder. We can't think about that anymore. It's over. I rub his shoulder comfortingly. You know what? Let's go to Peyton. Get out of this crappy town and do something, okay? TJ lets out a shuddery sigh. Maybe. I just need a minute. Okay. I roll over and look out the window through the blinds, feeling like I've accomplished something. Things went a little further than what I'd planned on, but it's working out for the best. My main issue now is figuring out what the hell Flynn and Carl were planning with all that bullshit. And what all they know. Assuming it had been them at all, but as of right now, I can't imagine who else it could have been. I feel a little guilty about what happened to Carl, but I had to show everyone how stupid and crazy the whole thing was. And just then, I see Flynn's truck roll into the parking lot. I tense up, staring in disbelief. What the hell reason would he have to come here? I'm only frozen up for a moment before I suddenly swing my legs off the bed. I don't know if TJ's looking. I hope not as I start closing the blinds. I'll close these so the sun isn't shining in your eyes, and I'm going to make a call to Jenna and make sure things are going all right, okay? I look back and I'm relieved to see TJ only now still looking over at me. Okay. Tell her I'm sorry. I will. Now, get some rest. I try not to look like I'm in a hurry as I go to the door and open it just wide enough for me to slide out. Flynn's truck pulls into a parking space about 20 feet away, and I jog over to him before he can get out. Hey, I say just as he opens the door. He looks at me coldly for a moment before getting out and slamming the door shut.
Hey.
We stand there awkwardly for a full 10 seconds, but Flynn doesn't say anything. You need something?
Why do you think I'm here, Chase?
I shrug. I have no idea, Flynn. Flynn stares at me for a few more seconds as he chews out a toothpick in his mouth.
You were down by the lake.
That's a really weird thing to assume, Flynn. Flynn scoffs.
Don't play with me. I see ambulance lights over by the lake, and 10 minutes later I get a text from Carl telling me he hurt his leg.
Really, Flynn? People go down by the lake all the time. Could have been anyone.
No one goes down by the lake. I know you've been sneaking around the town doing shady shit with Tej and Jan.
I keep on a straight face, refusing to crack under Flynn's pressure.
The only reason why I didn't ask you what the fuck you were doing is because I know you all hate me right now. But if you really went down there together, that's fucked.
Why is that fucked, Flynn? Because you decided it's off limits for everyone else because it makes you feel bad? Fuck off. Flynn's eyes widen for a moment.
Do not fuck with me on this, Chase. You know that's the last thing I ever want to hear from you.
Is that what I said? Did I say it right? Yeah. It's strange how I feel right now. Normally I'd be trying to calm the lizard, trying to talk him through his temper and past trauma, but now I don't care. Just like with Carl, I don't care how far this goes. This is his fault in the end. I can't believe you, Flynn. You start this whole thing, and now you try to act like the victim. It's fucking disgusting. Flynn gives me a baffled look.
What are you talking about? You mean what I said by the river?
Actually, yeah. That was probably the start of it.
How does that lead you to assume fucking around... What? Oh, yeah. How does that lead to you assholes fucking around by the lake?
You know exactly how. I watch Flynn carefully, trying to see if I can sense anything in his demeanor and his expressions. I've never really known him to lie, but if he's lying right now, then he's fucking amazing at it because all I can sense is bewilderment. He must have a lot of experience with lying.
Chase, what the fuck is up with you right now?
What do you mean?
You're acting like an ass.
Oh, so now you know how we all feel when you talk to us. Flynn stares at me, studying me. Then he looks up.
Who's here?
No one.
The fuck? Where's TJ and Jenna?
Not here. Flynn glances down at me.
Well, I gotta take a piss, so can I come in?
No. We stare each other down for a long, long time. Finally, Flynn pushes past me.
Well, I'm gonna give the door a knock to see if anyone's there. Maybe you missed him.
Whirl around and follow him angrily. He doesn't want to talk to you. Flynn turns to me.
Oh, so TJ's here then. Why didn't you tell me that?
Why do you think, Flynn? You need to leave right now. Flynn glares down at me.
I know you guys are up to something having to do with Sydney. If that's the case, then I have every right to know.
Flynn starts walking again.
And he has every right to talk to me himself.
Dart around Flynn and stand in front of the lizard, glaring up at him, bracing myself once again.
Get out of my way, Chase.
Leave him alone. Flynn pauses.
All I want to do is talk, that's it.
I let out a mirthless laugh. After what you did at the river, hell no! Flynn tries to push around me again. I grab his arm. He swings, trying to yank it back, and I shove him back towards his truck. Leave! I'd be yelling right now, but I don't want TJ to hear us through the thin motel walls.
Don't fucking touch me and get out of my fucking way!
He tries again, and this time I grab his arm and yank him away, swinging him like Leo did at the river. He might be tall, but I'm kind of amazed at how easily I can manipulate Flynn's body like a mannequin. Either that, or I just don't know my own strength. Flynn rolls with a curse and immediately pops back up, taking an awkward swing at my head.
Fucking little prick!
I duck his punch and tackle him around the waist, knocking us both to the asphalt as Flynn grunts loudly.
Ugh!
I scramble on top of the lizard and sit on his chest, pinning his arms under my knees. Again, he could barely move under me. Weak. Weak. I snarl down at him, raising a fist. Flynn flinches, closing his eyes and turning his head away. I pause, letting the tension build. Finally, I slowly lower it. Leave, Flynn. Otherwise I'm gonna cave your fucking face in. I'm tired of you bullying TJ and taking out all your problems on the rest of us and just being a miserable piece of shit all your life. I keep my voice low, almost growling like a canine. I wish they would tell me that shit before the lines, because I keep saying it and then they describe it in a different way, and I feel like I'm fucking up, but I'm not, because they didn't tell me what I did, how it was supposed to be done before I did it. Flynn cracks open an eye, looking at me in fear. I fucking hate you. I always have, and you deserve to have every single one of your fucking teeth knocked down for the way you've always treated us. I look back towards the door, but it's closed, quiet. I look back down at Flynn. Leave. And I never want to see your ugly fucking your ugly fucking ever again. Face ever again. Understand? Flynn just stares up at me. I can see the fear still, and maybe even a little hurt. What happened, Chase? I don't say anything. I know he isn't going to fight anymore. I get up and Flynn lays there for a moment staring at me. Finally, he rolls over and gets to his feet unsteadily. Then, without a word, gets back into his truck and starts it up. I turn away finally, hearing the lizard pull out of the parking lot as I open the door to the motel. I'm relieved to see TJ sitting on the bed, looking down at his phone. I was positive that he'd heard something. He looks at me when he hears the door open. Hey. Hey, Tej.
What'd she say?
Carl's good. Doctor's just checking him out. She said you're fine and that she understands why you did it, but I guess she's a little stressed out, too, because she's going to a friend's house in Peyton.
Oh.
TJ's ears lower. I think she just wants to give you space.
Maybe. I did get a text from Julian.
Hey, Bri. Really? There's that twinge of irritation.
Yeah. Said he was going to stop by after he drops off Carl. I was thinking we could wait until then before we leave. To talk to Julian, at least. I don't think Carl wants to see me.
Okay. Try not to let the anger creep into my voice as I sit down on the bed next to the Lynx.
And Chase?
Yeah? TJ smiles at me through his puffy eyes and matted cheek fur.
Thank you for being there for me. It means a lot.
Guilty! Time to be guilty! You are so fucking guilty! But you feel no remorse, so... yeah. Sociopaths are like that. Anyway, that's the end of this stream and series of updates. I guess we'll see next month the continuation of Saturday for both Flynn and TJ, presumably, as those are the only routes that have been updated recently. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I have been the trained unprofessional, speaking for the voices in my head when I say until next time, fare thee well. Bye, everyone!